Oh, welcome back to the channel. Well, we're rocking and rolling on this thing, man. It's coming together. I tell you what. Um, I think I want to focus on the cockpit area so I can get in. Um, we need to get the rib cage in, kind of the hoops for the different locations, so we can tie everything together, almost like a little skeleton, internal skeleton. We can do that. Um, I know we need to notch the head hole in the tank or shoulder hole, whatever that area. That's going to get taken care of. So once we get all that fitted, then we'll have our main hoops on the inside, and my main hoop right in front of the drivers where I have the dash panel. We'll get that in. Once we get that hoop in, then we can go ahead and get the steering wheel with the steering rod put in. So then that's functioning and stuff like that. So that's the main goal of this video. We're going to cut the top tank into two sections, front and rear, because the goal is they'll kind of split like that for if you go to shows or whatever to see stuff or work on, instead of having to unbolt all the way around, which takes a while. We're trying to figure out something, maybe some like bear claw latches or something. I don't know. So we're gonna split the tank into two. We're gonna cut out our section where our head's gonna stick out. I've already made, when I had the tube bender and ring roller out the other day, I made a few hoops, different sizes for the rib cage on the way back through the tank. So we can stiffen that up, and then we'll put our cross bracing, stuff like that. So yeah, I think we're going to split the tank, and then we're going to cut out just a rough, probably just a rough one right now before we're going to sit. Then we're going to weld our hoops in, and once our hoops are in, then we'll work on our steering and stuff like that. And then we'll get both sections of the tank back on, and that should really kind of give it a cool look, at least for this one. So, whew, almost feels nonstop sometimes, doesn't it? But it's come a long way in just what, a couple months, 6 months, 5.5 months. I think we're doing pretty good. So, alrighty, let's we get the tank on here, and we get our measurement of where we're going to slice it into two. We'll cut it, and we'll kind of go from there. Let's get on it. Well, in order to figure out our cockpit area and all of our support tubes, we're going to have to cut the tank here. So I have my one brace in here. So I did the center line of that. Same on the other side. And then I measured from our tank to where it butts up against our tubing, then added a 1/2 inch, made a mark, and then we scribed it. So I think this is going to be easier once we cut this for me to have the back section gone and be able to scribe around the seat opening right here, easier than trying to measure here where it's tilted and stuff like that. So I'm going to take this out, cut this, and put it back on and see what we got. Well, this is what you get when the video doesn't record. Had nice angles and everything, but I guess it is what it is. So top tank's in two pieces now. Got the edges cleaned up so there's not any sharp edges. Unfortunately, we're going to end up having to cut out that original bung because that's where the front seat's going to go, but it is what it is. Nice clean cut. It looks good. And we didn't really have any spring out, so that's a plus where we kept those gussets inside. The tanks are now separated, front, rear. And you kind of see how we got it laid out right through here. We have our hoop that's going to be right through here, right through this split almost between the two tanks. Now you can kind of see we are resting on the seat just a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to scribe this back side just a little bit and then cut over, which unfortunately we're going to lose that, but it is what it is. So we're going to scribe down a little bit, both sides, cut off, and we'll keep kind of arching that forward until we're actually clearing the tank sitting down. And then we can figure out what our main cutout area is. Once that's down, then we can remove that. We'll put our hoops in. We're gonna have a hoop here, and then one back here. And which we'll get in, probably not this episode or this video, but this section through here, this tube, and the bars that go back and then up to this one, those are going to have to be removable. So when we put the motor in, we can't hard weld these. There'd be no way to get that engine and stuff in there. So we got our clamps that we should be able to weld to the frame, and then this will be welded to the tube, or this will be welded to the frame, and this will be welded to the tube. So we can just unbolt it and should be able to come out. So I need to order a few more of those. All right, so my thing is, I mean, that's pretty close there. We want to be off of that a little bit. So we're gonna just kind of scribe the inside of this. Me too. We'll just go to that corner there. To that corner there. Whatever we cut there, we're going to take it straight across, which, yeah. So I got both sides marked. All right, you can kind of see we got our scribe marks there and right through there. So we're going to end up cutting this, and then right here should bring us right up through here, and then we're just going to cut across through here for now. And then if we need to take a little bit more off, we'll keep going till we get the perfect line, and then we know that's where we're stopping once the tank's all the way down. Then I can figure out my main center cut. But I need to get the tank all the way down, because if you look, we're still up a little bit. So we come down about 1.5 inches. Now, don't hold your breath that this is going to fit the first time, because I doubt it. I can't see what I'm doing. And close. Let me check the front here. There you go. I'll be hitting on. Oh yeah. All right, that's pretty good there. All right. Just come back a little bit, but we're hitting there. But actually, my widths got good clearance. So I think that's where we're going to need to. Looks like that goes straight out. So we're going to come out a little bit more on both sides. Well, I went ahead and measured out just a good enough distance for me to kind of play with it right now. Found the center line, and then we just had a scrap. And I just had a scrap piece of metal that I bent to get the curvature that I wanted. I made 2 marks and then just flipped it around the other way for the other side. Don't know if this is the final cut, but it's going to at least allow me to sit into it and see how much more I want, if I want more of an arch or whatever. So get that cut, that way we can get all the way down onto the chassis, and we'll go from there. All right, here comes take 2. I can't see anything. So we had to gusset right through here. You can kind of see it over there. I think when we cut that, our tank kind of went whoop, just a little bit. So I got some clamps. I mean, it's maybe 1/2 inch total on each side, maybe. So I got it clamped in to pull it in where I want it. But I already had existing marks here for different spots and down here on the axle. So I'm going to take these braces off here, go ahead and do the trimming that I had marked out to do. That way we can see if we can get our tank to sit down exactly where we need it. And then we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, that's kind of cool. I still think that might be small, but I won't know until I get in it to see how it feels. So take this off. I'm going to trim my little bits real quick, and then we'll put it back on and see what we got. I've spent the last little bit with the tank on and off, just trying to get all of our little cuts and stuff that are on the tank, like around our shocks and stuff. Underneath, between the bottom tank and this tank, I'm putting some of the like door trim, but it's gonna be the clear stuff. I'll run all the way around, give it a little bit of seal, but it's got a little bit of a flex. So I want to get my good gaps everywhere where they need it to be. And that looks pretty good there. I had to trim a little bit off of our shock little hole there. The only thing in the back is we're sprung out where we cut that gusset. Like say this side looks good, and that side's out by 1/4 inch. But when I'm going to try to get this to tilt. So when it comes down, I have the 2 bear claw latches on each side of the frame, and I'll probably have to the tank like a wedge. So against another wedge, it would be this way. For this side, it'd be this way. So when it comes down, even if it's over here, it's going to hit it and it's going to line it up and go into the little bear claw latches that have like a spring or something. So I'm not really worried about that. It's really small anyway. I could probably just put a little plate out for it to rest on and it would be fine. But we'll see. So my main thing is I wanted to see and get this up here where I need to. I don't know if I can do it from over here. Oh, come on now. Let's pick that up. So that side's there. This side looks just fine, actually. I'll put that on it just to hold it. Let me check the front again. Make sure we're good. Ooh, perfect there. Oh, yeah. Maybe just a smidge that way. All right. So then up here, we're about 1/4 off and about 1/8. So I'm not worried about that. We can trim that up and make these 2 sides match. I think the 1/4 looks good anyway. Might be a little tight. Let me kind of show you what we got here. So you can kind of see the seat sticking up. There's our tank. And we had to trim out just a little bit more of these and around that just to make them fit pretty good. It looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Still don't know. Maybe I'll go a little bit more. I want to sit in it and kind of see. I need to see where my gauges are at because I have a temp gauge and something else. So this might stay this distance, but I might curve it up. I think there's Yeah, there's a gusset right here. So maybe I'll curve this right up to that gusset. Not bad, man. It's pretty slick. All right, so I like this. I guess I'm going to go ahead and my back hoop, I'm going to get that in. I know I don't want it tight to this because I have to put my clamp on it that'll run back. So this back cage back here will be removable. So when I might have to trim down just a little bit. So I'm going to get it in there, see how where it's at, and might trim off two little bottom areas to bring it down just a little bit. All right, we got our hoop in. Got to get it braced up where we want it. Pretty much splits the tank. The tank's just a little bit on this side of the tube. It's because I need to leave a little room here for the harness to come through. So we'll do a little retainer or something there for that. We'll go ahead and get a tack on this side, the one on that side, and keep going from there. Let's get this off for a minute. Let's protect our seat. Well, don't need any welding splatter going anywhere. That's for sure. Let's get that over there. So we have a little bit of a gap there, which we're going to have perfect amount for our harness to come through. We'll weld a little stay or something like that on there for those just so they don't slide down when we're not using them. The radiator did come in, so that'll be a future video, but it's going to fit on this side of this tube. Unfortunately, the cooling fan that I had that was going to be a pusher, I don't have enough room for it. It's a thick boy. It's like 4.5 inches thick. So I think what I'm going to do is once the radiator's in, I'm going to build kind of a wall, kind of like a panel through here, and close this area through here. And I'm going to put a fan, like a 4 or 5 inch fan here and one on the other side. And then on the top, since this part's open, we're going to get building our, like a little hoop that'll come back and then taper into nothing. That opening there, I'm going to cover with a screen in the front, but the opening spot's going to have another fan that'll pull air down. So I'll have 3 spots from here, here, and here to go into the radiator and try to get the air out and cool everything off. So you got to really think that I'm not driving this around town. So, you know, it might be running 5-10 minutes at a time if I take it out to the salt flats, maybe a little longer. But even if I take it to car shows around here, it's pretty much unloading and then driving to your spot. So I'm really not worried about overheating at this point, but I do want it functional. All right, my next hoop is going to go through here. I need to go cut off a little bit of it, and then we'll get it mocked up and get the magnets on it to hold it. We'll put the top back on it, and we'll peek inside to make sure that we have enough clearance. Okay. Get the steering wheel there. So my main thing is my dash is going to be mounted to this panel here. So I need to keep that in mind. See, my legs would be wide like that. So we're going to that's probably going to be like right in there. Right? I think. So if my tank, I think the tank's going to be like right here. Yeah, I should be able to see my gauges. So I need to go a little bit more this way. So I'm going to have to cut that down again. But that's as far forward as I'm going to go. So I'm going to leave that. I don't know where I'm at there. That's, I might have to bend another tube. All right, so if that's far forward, I'm gonna check that plane. Oh, let me get the steering wheel out of here. Okay. So using a fixed point on each side should be the same. So that's 27 and 3/8. 27 and a quarter. I'm gonna push this back to 27. And let's get this side back to 27. Here we go. Get that. Try that again. Nope, too much. All right, that's 27. And that's 27. Okay, so then with this shifter all the way forward, I have quite a bit of room. Just don't want to bust my knuckles. So that's true. So I have like 1.75 inches between that. That's plenty. And I think, yeah, I think that's going to be better than having it back. Maybe. So is that better there, or would it be better back? No, because if I have it farther this way, the steering wheel is going to be in. I can still extend the steering wheel out to where I want it and still give me plenty of room, I think. Let's try it again. Shall we? I think I'm going to put like a little step in here because I don't know if I want to step on my almost all in. Did you see that? That was graceful. All right, so that's there. That's shifter. Steering wheel will be there. And I'm going to think my dash going to have 2 gauges there, 1 gauge over here, and like my start button here probably. I'm going to get that as close to the top of the tank where my hands can still go without hitting it. So just say that's there. Reverse, nope, ain't going to hit that. It's back to neutral. So that's still good there. My hand, yeah. I think that's the spot. All right, I'm going to bend this a little bit more so I can get this closer into the frame rail, and then we'll weld it up. Well, the existing bend that I already had was probably overall about 1 inch too long. So instead of remaking it, I just put it back into the bender and centered it up so it's, level, and then hit the jack a couple times while I was measuring the outside width, and it would just slightly bend it right here, which you can't even tell because it was so minimal. So I got it into where I want. I got the same measurement on both sides. I'm going to tack it. I also did measure the tank in the area where this is at, try to see where I need it to be to make sure I had enough room. So I'm 99.264% that I'm going to clear. But just in case, and to save a lot of headache, I'm just going to put 1 tack on each side, and then I'm going to put the tank on, just peek inside, make sure I have enough clearance, and then we'll weld her up. Well, I'm touching, just, yeah, barely touching, but it's down on all sides. I'm going to go ahead and take it off and cut like 1/4 off of it just so I have a little bit of play. So not a big deal. We'll cut that out, cut off 1/4, and then we'll stick her back in, and then I know it's good. 1/4 inch at the very top. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna take that off. And we take this off, finish welding that up, and then I think we're gonna sit in here and see if I can see the hoop, so I know if I can see my gauges or not. That's going to be the determination how much more of this we cut out. I'm really hoping I don't cut into this gusset because I still want some integrity through here. So hold on 1 second. Sure you got it? Yep. Okay, should be close. Go ahead and take your end down. All right, is that centered and about right, you think? That's pretty close. Okay, so I can't even see that bar. Well, I was going to show you me sitting in it so you could kind of see what I could see with the dash, but it was way too tight because the bar is back around here and we got our gusset here. I really don't want to cut the gusset out, so I'm going to make a mark, or I made the mark here, cut this out, then I'll try it again and see if I can see it. If not, then we'll just make it a little bit bigger. On the sides here, you can see I went down because when I was sitting there, my shoulders were actually touching the metal right here, and I don't want that. So kind of where that mark's at right here is get a nice little distance off from my shoulder. So let's duplicate it, rounded it out. So we'll cut this and get it back in and see how she looks. All right, I did the trimming and got it back on there. I'm about to get in it to try it. I think that looks really cool. It's a good shape and everything else. I still think that I'm not going to have enough room to see the dash. So if that's the case, I'm going to get in and sit because I really want to keep this gusset. And maybe I'll see if I can maybe do gauges along the sides. Not really have a dash. I might have a panel just to kind of block stuff out. But we'll get in here and see what we can try to figure out. I got in and I made a template actually here just to kind of see a dash that was going to mount on that secondary bar, which is like right in here. Okay. I took out more to hopefully I could see it, and I got that template when I was sitting in there and I could see like the bottom third. So otherwise I'm going to have to cut this out almost to here, which is just gargantuan, and that's going to defeat the whole purpose of the streamline. So I sat in there and I think I'm just going to figure out an alternate place for my gauges. So yeah, maybe on the sides or maybe right here on top, I'll do like a little support bar and then have like the 3 little cluster there. I don't know. I'm going to worry about the steering wheel and the steering rod, get that in, get that placed where I want it. And then the gauges and all that stuff, I'll make it work where I need to. I mean, worst case, over here on this side, maybe I'll just do a little panel kind of angled that way to see them all. I don't know. But I just know I can't use the dash like I was going to, which really disappoints me because I was going to do the engine turning on the drill press and make all the little cool circles, and it's like 3-dimensional. It's really awesome. So maybe I'll figure out that somewhere else. So option A is not working. So let's not worry about the dash. It's a separate video anyway, not this video. And man, that does look cool. Yeah, how? We'll just have to figure it out. I mean, it is what it is. We're just playing it as we go. So I do know off the back tube back here, over there, we're going to run tubes down to that one. That one's going to be kind of mid-level. The one on this side, I think we're going to kind of come out, maybe down and then up, and then we'll put a little brace at the bottom just for when this is tilted up to get in, so you're not having to hike it up like you're getting over onto a horse or something like that. I don't know. We'll play with it and see. I want to, what do I want to do? Well, I'm kind of bummed that I can't do my dash like I wanted, but it is what it is. I think I need to go ahead and do my horizontal bracing just so all that's locked in and tight. And then I'll work on getting the steering wheel and stuff like that mounted. Then I know there's no twisting, there's nothing hinky going on there. And then we'll get in it and then we'll adjust where we want the steering wheel, all that kind of stuff. And I mean, that should go fairly smooth. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get the 2 shorter braces, and I'm going to figure out my long brace. That side will be straight brace, just a couple miters, tacks, and that shouldn't be too bad. So I'll get all 4 of those cut and ready to go, and then rocking and rolling, man. Have you ever sat in a belly tank before? Do you want to? Hold on. Well, here's your chance. An unfinished one. There you go. Well, I thought the next bit was going to be putting in our cross bracing, but I was thinking last night, the tank's in 2 sections, and I see a lot of people, they'll bolt down the whole tanks and stuff like that. But, you know, if I go to car shows or something like that, you want to kind of open it up and, hello, morning. You want to open it up so people can see it. You don't have to try to unbolt everything or whatever. So I thought it would be cool. Like I said yesterday, we're going to have the bear claw latches in the back. So the tank is going to lift up this way, and then the rear is going to lift up that way, at least for now. So we'll have bear claw latches in the back, and we'll have like a wire or something that we'll pull them and they'll unlock and we can lift it up. But we need to have the pivot mechanism, and we kind of have to lift over the shock arms and stuff like that. So we need to kind of take the tank and let it come up, and then we can tilt it. And as long as we have a pivot up here, once it's up clear that, we can kind of tilt it, and then I'll just use like one of those little tension rods or something to hold it, or maybe it'll line up somewhere where you can stick like a little pin or something in it. I don't know. So that's the plan. I want to get the front locked in, the front tank locked in, so I can lift it up and down. I can see where my lines are at, and then I can put my struts in, or support arms, and then we can actually work on the steering column and stuff like that. So I'll show you what I got right now in my head of what's working and kind of what I've kind of cut out, and then we'll see. So I have bins of, you know, the grade 8, grade 5, and hardware, a bunch of other stuff, just enough to try to get me by. One of my bins, I have a bunch of these tabs in it. So what I did, I had to drill out the hole, and then I put it in the vise, and you can kind of see I put a little bend on it because I'm going to sandwich. This was actually, I had 2 of these that were pretty much the same. I drilled a hole and rounded out the ends. So that's going to get sandwiched in between those bars, kind of like this. And with the angle, we have our gusset, which you can see it back here. We'll end up cutting this off and bolting a bracket to the gusset, and then with probably a bolt or a pin, something we're going to put through here. And if you see we're kind of angled down, when we lift up, it's going to, since we're kind of angled down here, when we lift up, it's still going to keep the same plane, which should let us clear this arm. And since it has this pivot, this will be a pivot point too. The tank can still rock back and forth. So once we lift it up, then the arm will come this way, but we can pivot, and then the tank can be angled like this. So we're angled like that, then we can still get in, and then everybody will still be able to see kind of what's going on inside, which is kind of cool. So we're gonna have one here and one here. I got both of these cut. Those are ready to go. I need to figure out my gusset connection here. So I'm gonna figure that out real quick, and then we'll get these kind of situated. And I don't know. We'll eventually get this tacked in here in a little bit, but we need to figure out our gusset point, and then we'll cycle it after we tack it and see how it does. This might not work. I don't know. My son had a good idea just to put a hinge up here, and then it would be able to go, but I'd have to notch a lot more of the tank out to clear this kind of stuff. So that's probably our third option, but I don't want a big hingy looking thing up here. So I don't know. We're going to figure this out. Let's go with this one first, and we'll see what we got. You have to put your feet a little together. Hold on. Okay. Let me get your front checked first. Hold on. All right, how's that looking in there? Way different. They need to go towards like the driveway. Just don't push it. Should be right there. Let me check the backs to make them centered. Okay, how's that look? Do you have the pen? Oh yeah, I can see much better now. All right, so how's that piece on the, is it, you can't see how close it is to that tube? No. But that's the side it needs to be on. I'll put it over here. Oh, dang it. Well, we can do that side first. It don't matter. Is it on the outside of the tube, facing farthest away from you? Yeah. Okay, how close to the tube is it? It's not close to the tube at all? But... Pick it up. Hold on a second. Hey, go ahead. Man. Well, that was a bust. Literally all day working on these brackets, making it look cool. Got it all bolted together, and it lifted easy, then it got a little tight, so I figured there's a little binding. But then when it got all the way up to the top and I did my tilt, it only freaking moved 13, 14 inches forward, and it was still angled back, so it would help me none to get in and out. So even if I extended, which I couldn't extend those for where it's at, so tomorrow I'm cutting all the crap out again, and I think I'm going to do a center of our hoop above our steering box. I think I'm going to have a bolt, a long bolt, and have two rods, so it's scissors. So I think that'll work. If I put a pivot back here with the scissor coming up that way, it'll be kind of flat, and then when I lift up, it'll lift up that way, go up high, and then it can go back, and then I can tilt it to be down. So I wish I would have thought of that 10 hours ago. That's all part of it. It is what it is. Cut it out and start it over. So whatever. I'll see you in the morning. So this is our next option. We're gonna go with our center mount here, and that should go through there. I got pretty tight right now because I got an extra washer in there to keep everything kind of square, but I think that's gonna work. So we get another tack in the bottom, and then we'll cycle it and see what it's got. Good. That's going to give us a stop. It gives us, I got it close enough where that gives us a stopping point when it gets up. I'm hoping that's going to be enough. I guess we're going to try it and see. But we're going to kind of mount it down like this, and then we're going to have our hinge part right there. Mm-hmm. All right, let me get this other piece on and kind of see what we got. Well, hopefully you can hear me because that wind's whipping today, but we'll see. So we got a hinge. We drilled up the holes, made it match to here. We leveled the tank, and then we leveled this, so we know that this is going to be the same parallel. And then we're going to bolt this together, possibly. Put our backing plate on. Lock washer, nut. So once we get this on, this part is we're going to weld our arm to this. That way we still have a hinge part. And then we can trim out the excess of this hinge or whatever. It works in my head, but that doesn't mean anything. All right, so now we have free movement here. We'll go ahead and get the tank in, try to lay underneath and see where our arm lines up so we can make some marks, and then we'll try to tack it, and then we'll take the arm off, and then we'll finish welding it up if it goes that smoothly. All right, well, we got our pivot pin in. So the plan is we'll see if it pivots. That's good. And then this is just a paint pole, but I just kind of do it for now so you can kind of see how it works. Looks pretty good. So we'll show you the pivot. I still need to clean this up. I'll cut off the other parts of the hinge there to clean it up and probably put another brace on it. But you can see kind of where we're at. It gives me enough room so when you go places, people can actually see what we got going on. It still allowed me to get in and out fairly easily, so not too bad. So I'll show you from this angle, can you kind of see where it's at, but all of our marks and everything have lined up perfect when it's closed. And I'll have a release inside. I'll have some of the little bear claw latches like for doors back here in the back. And I'll probably have a little wedge bolted to the sides of this, so when it comes down, it'll self-align and then lock into our bear claw latches. But it lifts straight up off of our shocks, and then we'll get our brace in. So, and that brace is temporary. I'll have to figure out some type of a strut or something like that, but that'd be good if we go to shows or first to work on, something like that. But man, it was a feat. I know the video is a little bit longer because I showed you how I messed up the first time. But like I said from the beginning, it's not all about here's the finished product. You kind of want to see, trial and error. And I've had some error, but it is what it is. It's all part of it. I mean, I'm thrilled. It pivots. So, and it'll look pretty cool, especially if we take it to like the Cavalcade Custom, something like that. So people can actually see the inside, see all the mechanical stuff, and see all the bits, because it's kind of hard just through the little cockpit hole. So kind of do the same plan on the rear. I think I have more room so I can get more pivot out of it and make it stand up more. So you can see a lot more of the motor. I thought about doing the quick pins, quick releases all the way around, but something happens, you want to be able to get in and out pretty quick. Or if you're working on something, just continuously popping those pins kind of gets old. So And I'm thrilled. Whew. All right, so now that this part's done, we can work on our steering wheel. Finally, we can get our steering shaft in and figure out where our steering wheel / yoke's going to be. So let's get on it. So our steering shaft out of our steering box, you see it has splines. And our connector has the right amount of splines, a 3/4 36 spline. And the other end is the D profile for our steering shaft. So these are pretty much dummy proof. Just stick it up where it needs to go and it'll slide right on. So we're good there. I'm not going to tighten these up yet. So we got this in here loose. Once we get our D fitting in here, we'll make it where it comes flush, pretty much right back to here. So we'll be on there probably an inch, 1.25 inches, and then we can tighten that up. But I'm thinking somewhere probably around through here. We took our center cap out, and we're going to need to put our quick change or quick release on. So we're going to make sure that's on the bottom. So we're going to make it go like this. And then we have our bolts with lock washers. Once I get this powder coated or whatever I'm going to do on final assembly, we'll do some Loctite or something like that, but it's probably not necessary with these lock washers. But last thing I want is for it to fall apart. I'll get these on here. Guess I need a... Oh yeah, that's gonna be nice. Guess I need to get a wrench on here. All right, that's all we need on that. So you can kind of see how we look here on the back, our grooves, and then our quick release right there. So we have our other end that's going to slide over our shaft, and then we'll end up welding this on once we figure out our lengths and stuff like that. We can go ahead and slide that in there. Let's see, where's our sweet? There she goes. So now we're in. So there's our fully assembled. So once we figure out what our length is, I mean, we have 2-3 inches that we can cut our steering shaft longer, and then we'll put a nice weld around that, and we'll be good to go. So, all right, we cut our steering shaft down, and we're gonna get everything kind of in here to see where we want it. Use our straps here to give us some tension. Let's see. Right there. There's it. Of course, I didn't bring my Allen wrench, but I got a black mark here. I can kind of see. All right. Make sure we're lined up there. So that's straight. Well, should have put that in there first. Well, come on now. All right, so, well, that's way too high. What do we got there? Oh, there we go. Let's get our steering wheel here. We'll let that bottom out. Let's see where we're at here. All right, that's pretty good there. I think we need to lower the tank, make sure we have enough room. Height-wise, it's good because you can rest your arm, but I think it might be a little too high for when we turn. But then that should be an easy adjustment there. Let me go ahead and knock that to the other side here. There. All right. So, all right, we're going to get out and see what we can drop the tank and see what we can line up. Well, I use the old handy dandy Tortec straps and some wood to get my angles and everything right. I didn't want that to be too kinked, so I had to add another one just to be safe. And we got our measurement from here to the bottom there where we kind of want it. So I'm going to get one of our heim joints and probably try to do something right off here on the top just to hold it and kind of see where we're at. We'll have a little bit of play with the heims. So let's see if we can figure that out. Holder. Take you inside. Oh, there's the steering shaft. See right there on top of that bracket, we're barely touching. And the tank's all the way down. So, but I'm gonna go and just grind out a little spot right there on that spot, and we should be pretty good. Phew. Well, that looks nice and pretty, doesn't it? Still quite hot. I'm gonna put it in here and let it sit for a bit. Let it cool off before I jump in and get everything adjusted properly. All right, that's flush in the back there. Ooh, that's toasty. Now the good thing about this is I know I'm pretty close to where I want it. But with these heims, I can lower this a little bit, and this one I can pull it in a little bit to get it to go back and forth whichever way I need it. As long as I have clearance on the top for me to turn the wheel, it works for me. But we can adjust it once we get in there. Once this is a little cooled off. All right, so that's flush there. Make sure all these are tight. Yeah, I thought I tightened them. Okay, good. We're tight everywhere. All right. Let's see what we got. But we should be fairly close. I just need to get in there and feel the wheel and then get the hand on the shifter and feel how everything is. But yeah, that's, I almost grabbed it. All right, we'll let this cool off and then we'll give her a trial fit. So I got inside, and our bracket that's back here, if I can push this, and I can see a little bit of flex right there. So I'm going to take right after our bracket, and I'm going to weld it up to our back brace back there in the back, kind of like a triangle, which I knew I was going to do anyway. But yeah, I think that's going to really stiffen it up. But there's plenty of room in here. I can shift through the gears. I can't get the camera back any farther to show you, but I'll get out and then I'll kind of show you with the steering wheel in. Real quick before I put the top tank down so you can see it. This is what I'm talking about. We just have this long bar right here. There's really nothing supporting it anywhere. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna just come off of this edge here and run it straight back to give it a nice stabilization. I mean, it's tight, but we definitely need to triangle it a little bit. I think once we do that, they'll really stiffen it up quite a bit. So, all right, so here it is with the steering wheel in. Looks very cool. We got our shifter and everything there. Really digging it. It's super comfortable. Way more than I was anticipating with everything in. Yeah, that looks freaking awesome. Wow, I mean, this turned out freaking awesome. I think it looks really cool. Really coming together, man. I tell you what, I'm really excited about it. I want to get a little bit more done in this video, the cockpit area and stuff like that, but working on the hinge thing, that really threw me off time wise and stuff like that. So we still got some more to do in the cockpit. We need to work on our release for our tank to lift it up. We get those latches in, stuff like that, the little guides. We do have our bomb drop mechanism, if you remember seeing that before. So we're probably going to use that, I think, for the release, possibly for the tank release, because we got 3 levers on that, so we could probably use that for the front and the rear. So yeah, we got quite a bit still to do. I need to figure out my gauges, how that's going to work. I really wanted it to go through, but I think I might be able to fit one down here or something like that, or something. I don't know. So we still got to figure that out. But this looks freaking cool. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm glad you kind of stuck with me through the headache of doing this thing. There's probably 10 different ways to do it. If you got another idea, let me know, and I can try to do that on the back. I know this setup works. But yeah, just shoot me your ideas. I'm up for anything, man. I tell you what. Um, yeah, so plenty more to come. We're kind of switching back and forth between this build and doing the few modifications to the step van hauler. That there won't be that many videos on that. Probably 5 total, maybe 6 total on the step van. So yeah, we're kind of switch back and forth. But appreciate y'all keep coming back and watching these and the comments and everything else like that. Keep those coming. I greatly appreciate it. And again, real quick, if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button just to help me get the page on the recommendations for other people to see, to come to the page and get some subscriptions that way to help us keep growing. So I greatly appreciate it. And with that, I'll see you next Friday. Have a good weekend.